I am not guilty.
Innocent? Claims he's
Don't believe him!
Your teachings speak another language. Guilty, I say.
I am deeply saddened. It may come as a surprise to you, but we had hoped to make you Bishop of Kingsbridge. Why has it come to this, Philip?
In part, I am to blame. I supported Philip in his early years. I demand that Philip be removed from his position of prior immediately.
No.
And that he remain in captivity until such time that Shiring and all of England have healed from the poisonous words he has dispersed.
No!
What? Yes?
You are accusing Philip because he has defied you.
I made him prior, and grateful he was not. But no, I accuse him because his teachings are false. And I intend to prove that Philip's decisions have been more than misguided in the past. Call in Remigius.
The Prior of Shiring, Father Remigius.
My bishop.
Tell the court, Remigius, what you have told me.
For many years, I served as sub-prior of Kingsbridge. First for Prior James, then for the accused.
What was your first impression of him?
I was offended by his bluntness and accusations during the chapter discussions.
What else?
Prior Philip did not hesitate to give refuge to the people fleeing Earl's Castle in the winter that our king died.
Is that not a good deed? A true Christian act?
You do not know him as well as you think you do, Lady Aliena. Today, that will change.
The future master builder of our cathedral and his woman were among those taking refuge. They were living in sin. They were unmarried and fornicating. Philip allowed them to stay.
Why would he do that?
I do not know, my bishop.
Maybe because he himself was involved in similar affairs. We will see.
Then, on the day of our first fleece fair, we were attacked.
I heard. It was terrible.
I tried to soothe the woman's pain by reading the scripture to her. The builder's woman I have spoken of tried to put a spell on her with poisonous herbs.
And Philip intervened.
Yes. He pushed me aside and gave the woman poison.
He should hang.
He wouldn't do that.
It is worse than I thought.
It was no poison.
And then there was the day the Virgin Mary's statue arrived in Kingsbridge. I did not believe it was a miracle.
The Virgin Mary.
Of course it's a miracle. The Virgin Mary herself spoke to me.
Me too.
Clearly, it is a miracle. I hear of many who were healed in Kingsbridge.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, Mary, bless us all.
Well, I soon realized it was a true miracle.
Tak, tak, jasne.
Philip did not. He was only after the money people donated at the Virgin's shrine. That is why I left.
He had to.
Amen. I believe there is one more thing you have not told us about. Something very important.
Yes. Philip has fathered a child.
What?
I knew it.
What?
A son. And he raised him in the priory.
He is guilty.
Jonathan of Kingsbridge, step forward.
This is preposterous.
Is it?
Is this true? Are you Philip's son? Answer the question, Jonathan of Kingsbridge.
I have no father.
Everyone has a father.
That may be. But if Philip was my father, he would have told me.
How do you know he did not lie to you?
Speak. Answer the bishop.
Philip would never lie. He told me that I was found in the woods.
In the woods? Is this true, Philip? Or are you lying? Well, you told the story so many times.
He was abandoned in the woods. My brother found him.
The brother whose master you betrayed.
What are you talking about?
Philip tried to involve me in a conspiracy against his brother's master, Earl Robert of Gloucester. And his ally, Earl Bartholomew, your father, Lady Aliena. Philip took in all those refugees years ago because he was to blame for their fate, as he was for yours when you lost your father and your earldom. That, Lady Aliena, is the man you are trying to protect. Well?
I know that he is a troubled man. We've all had to make hard decisions. Decisions that seemed right at the time, when indeed they were terrible mistakes. I am thankful that I was forgiven when I made a mistake. Now I forgive him. Let us now return to the problem at hand. There is a man who witnessed how Jonathan was found in the forest. A man who can shed light on who Jonathan's father really is.
And who is that?
My husband.
Step forward. What is your name?
He is the master builder of Kingsbridge.
Have you lost your courage?
No, I have not. You know well why it would be hard for me to face you. They call me Jack, after my father. My name is Jack Jackson.
Yes, we have met before.
How old were you when you allegedly saw Jonathan as a child in the woods?
12. But I know what I saw. Philip told the truth.
You were a child. And what were you doing there, in the woods?
I was living in the forest, with my mother.
They were outlaws.
Prior Remigius is the most trustworthy witness we've seen today, and his statement was quite damning to Philip. The distant memories of an outlawed child cannot convince me otherwise.
He fathered a child!
Let him go!
He would never do that!
And yet, Lady Aliena is right. We do not know enough to judge him as harshly as you proposed, Bishop Waileran.
You are right, Bishop Henry. As I said, it is not up to us to judge this man. Philip of Gwynedd has pleaded innocent, but how innocent is he? We ask God for his judgment. As Bishop of Kingsbridge and Shiring, I demand an ordeal by fire.
This is madness!
Philip of Gwynedd will be tried and judged at the stake. If he is innocent, God will save him from the flames. If he is not, then he will burn as the heretic and sinner God has declared him to be.
No!
Waileran, by God! Not this time.
It's her.
I saw the child and Francis. I was there. Philip is not the child's father. He is a fool, but he is a good man.
Then who is the father?
Tom Builder.
They are all in this together. This woman is a witch and an outlaw, living in sin with a thief. He was hanged in Shiring 30 years ago.
He was not a thief. He was a good man. You've murdered him, Waileran, by God.
What is this nonsense?
He was a thief. He stole a golden chalice and melted it down and sold it.
What chalice?
The chalice of the Eucharist. He stole it from the Cathedral of Kingsbridge.
Sacrilege.
Yes, Prior James of Kingsbridge caught him red-handed.
Is that the chalice? You said it was melted down and sold.
Fall not for their lies. That could be any chalice. This does not prove a thing.
Where did you find this chalice?
In a secret chamber. We believe Prior James hid it because he felt guilty for falsely accusing Jack's father.
What proof do you have?
He told me. The night the cathedral burned down, I was there, I saw him.
Prior James died weeks before that.
No, he did not.
Bishop Henry, he speaks the truth.
Order! I will give you until sunset to produce a witness who can prove your accusations against Bishop Waileran. Not just this chalice. If you fail to do this, I will make sure you are tried for defamation. Philip of Gwynedd, you will stay under arrest. The trial recommences at sunset.
Jaki dumny jest z siebie. Ha, skubaniec. To czuję, że dociniemy do końca dzisiaj.
We need a witness.
What are you doing there?
I've seen you draw up plans for a cathedral. Maybe we can do something similar to find our witness. Let's see. Your father.
He looks just like you.
My grandmother said he did.
And Bishop Waileran. What are the connections? Maybe, by exploring them, we can find a witness.
Good idea.
Good idea. Good idea. Ale chwilę przerwy jeszcze i zaraz do was wracam. Okej. To już być i możemy kontynuować.
Jack's father. If he was still with us, he could be our witness.
Maybe he still can.
Bishop Waileran is at the center of all this.
To jest tak, okej.
Mother says Waileran was behind my father's death.
And she said he wasn't alone. There were 3 men responsible for your father's death. Bishop Waileran, Percy Hamley, back then he was the Sheriff of Shiring, and Prior James of Kingsbridge.
If they were all there, then they were all witnesses.
And only Waileran's still alive.
Hardly a coincidence. Why would these 3 men work together to falsely accuse your father?
He He was on the White Ship. No one survived that night. No one lived to tell the story.
Yes. He was the sole survivor.
And then they killed him. But why?
My father wanted to go to England. He was the only one who made it when the White Ship sank.
Okej.
Why would Whaler and Percy and James be concerned about the White Ship?
The son and heir of King Henry was on board. So were other possible heirs and other members of the royal household. I heard that Stephen was supposed to be on the ship as well, but became ill. He was the only male heir. The only threats were the king's daughter Maud and her half-brother Earl Robert, and they've been at war ever since.
And your father, Earl Bartholomew. He was a threat. He tried to stop Stephen and paid for that with his life. Maybe my father saw something on the White Ship. Proof that Stephen was involved. If Stephen was responsible for the sinking of the White Ship, then he may have wanted the only witness of what really happened to disappear.
But he wouldn't have done it himself, of course.
No.
If the White Ship is involved, then it's likely that Waleran was told by King Stephen to murder your father.
But he was not king back then. Why would Waleran listen to him?
He was promised to become bishop.
Of course.
Remember, Bishop Henry is Stephen's brother, and back then he was already one of the most influential clerics in all of England.
But if Bishop Henry is in on all this, what chance do we have to turn this trial around?
It is a public trial. All we want is for Philip to go free. We find a witness to expose Waleran. Henry would have to play along to appear innocent.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
It's our best shot.
Okay.
It's possible that King Stephen asked Whaler. Now, what about Prior James?
Do you think the king told James to arrest my father?
No. I find it much more likely that James was instructed to frame your father by Waleran, his superior. As Archdeacon, Waleran was much more involved in politics than James would have been.
James was the prior of Kingsbridge.
That's where they say your father stole the chalice, melted it and sold it.
But we know that's not true.
As we found it, Philip recognized the chalice.
But Bishop Henry wants a witness. The chalice isn't enough.
But it's an important lead for us. I think we're getting closer.
Okay.
Maybe Stephen never came up with the plan to hang your father.
You mean Waleran did it because he heard rumors and wanted to get closer to Stephen and Bishop Henry? Maybe.
The chalice was used to kill the last survivor of the White Ship.
Yes.
So Waleran and the others claimed your father had stolen a chalice from Kingsbridge Cathedral, and that he sold it.
Yes.
We know that's not true, but we need a witness.
It's the only way to help Philip.
The chalice was the reason why your father was hanged in Shiren. But Percy did not arrest him for stealing. That was Prior James, right?
Yes.
Philip said that Prior James was an honest man. So perhaps Waleran forced him to falsely accuse your father.
Maybe.
That might explain why James was guilt-ridden. The monks still tell the stories about how James thought the devil was after him.
So, what about Prior James and Waleran?
Waleran was not yet bishop when the hanging took place. He was archdeacon. Philip told me.
But James still had to do what Waleran told him to?
I think that's very likely.
Mhm.
William Hamley's father. How are Prior James and Percy Hamley connected?
Not at all, I would guess.
Except through Bishop Waleran.
Yes. He needed James to arrest my father and Percy Hamley to hang him.
Now both of them are dead. That can't be a coincidence.
Mhm.
Did he ever even see the chalice that they claim he stole? Perhaps not. If Stephen is involved, then his brother Bishop Henry would be as well.
Waleran, Percy, and James might have been working for those who sunk the White Ship.
Okay.
Our chalice was used to kill an innocent man.
Now they are killing another. We must help Philip.
What about the king? It's possible that King Stephen asked Waleran.
I don't think the king was very... Otherwise there would have been many...
It is unlikely Prior James.
Stephen always claimed that it had been God's will that he was not on that ship. That he remained as the only male heir.
That wasn't God. I bet Stephen had a hand in the sinking of the ship.
Now imagine what would have happened if he had learned that someone survived. Someone who might have seen what really happened that night. Hardly a coincidence that the king's... If the king is behind all this, what chance do we have to stop Waleran and save Philip?
We must do our best.
Okay, okay.
Waleran's face when he saw the chalice. That should have been proof enough.
James claimed that your father had stolen the chalice and sold it. But instead, James himself hid it in Kingsbridge, in the crypt.
We found his scourge in a bed down there.
That secret chamber is important.
Okay.
Why was the chalice hidden? And by whom?
You said Prior James was full of regret. He probably couldn't just destroy the chalice. Not even after he used it to frame your father. It was the chalice of the Eucharist, after all. And a token for what he did.
Everyone thought Prior James was dead. That he broke into the ice. And now we know he was hidden away.
Why did his monks believe he was dead?
Sub-Prior Remigius told everyone he had found James' rosary by the river. So everyone thought the body had been washed away. They buried an empty casket.
But how is Remigius involved?
Philip told me that Remigius was there when Waleran made Philip prior. Waleran and Remigius knew each other.
That explains why Waleran later made Remigius prior of Shiring.
And Remigius recognized my mother when we arrived in Kingsbridge. He must have been there at the time my father was arrested. I think Remigius knows all about this.
Is it possible that Waleran told Remigius to make Prior James disappear when James began to talk about what they'd done?
When James started talking to the devil.
But for some reason, Remigius hid him away. But Waleran never knew. Yes, that explains why he really didn't believe you. When you said you had seen James in the fire.
Where James died after all. And Remigius thought no one knew.
We have to find Remigius. He's our witness.
Let's hurry. It's getting dark already. The trial will continue soon.
People know you two. You shouldn't walk around shiring like that.
He's right.
I'll go look for him.
All right. Take care of yourself. And Jonathan,
Yes?
we will talk later about what was said today. About Tom?
All right. Remigius, now where are you?
Chłe. Dobra.
No one may approach the pyre.
Why not?
Bishop Henry's orders.
All right.
Alright.
Hello? They're all gone. I don't see anyone here. Everyone left for the trial, it seems.
Pałac biskupa. Tu jest duży dom. Idźmy tutaj.
Hello? No one's home.
Do you want to go in, Father?
No, not yet. Thank you.
Are you not with Prior Philip?
Yes, I am.
I pray they'll set him free.
He's a good man.
He is a heretic!
You're fools! Look at yourselves! Who are you to judge a man who has never hurt anyone?
Forgive them, Father.
We don't judge him, but God will!
Jest i on. Jest i on.
Remigius? I don't think he's here.
O, jednak.
Was that him?
Yep.